Hi, and welcome to The Bright Balloon, a podcast where I'm sharing bright ideas for your balloon business. My name is Sarah Meyer, and I'm a balloon business owner like you, and I love the creative side of what I do, but I really love the business side, which seems to be the part where most people struggle. So I'm here to help. Each week, I'm bringing you an episode full of bite-sized tips you can use to make improvements in your business. I want you to make more money, eliminate stress, and learn along with me as we grow our creative businesses together. Welcome to The Bright Balloon, presented by 17 Hats. Hello and welcome to another episode. I hope you have been enjoying this summer interview series. I know I have loved chatting with people, getting to make some new friends, and today is another interview. I am chatting with Tisha, who is out in Las Vegas and the owner of Little Party Girl Co. And she is also starting a new project called Balloon Esteem. You may have seen it on Instagram. She started the first Balloon Esteem chapter in her community as a way to network and get to know the balloon community in Vegas. And now it has spread to other communities. So we will be chatting about her business and about Balloon Esteem, the need for building a community, networking with your peers, and not being afraid to share with those around you. So thank you to Tisha for being on this episode. Before we take a quick break, I want to do something that I don't think I've ever officially done before, which is a call for podcast guest applications. So if you are a longtime listener, you understand what the podcast is, you know what we chat about on here. If you have something to contribute and you would like to be on an episode, please reach out. This is not an invite-only situation. I believe that everybody has something to teach, and we all have something to learn from each other. I have learned something from every single interview, no matter who it's been. So if you have an area where you feel like you have a strength, whether it's how you manage your staff or how you manage your money or a tip on how to make quick sales, or maybe you have like a signature design, if you have something that you feel like is your secret sauce and you want to share it, please consider coming on the podcast. I would love to have you on. All you have to do is email me at thebrightballoon@gmail.com, and we will chat and then schedule an interview. So I have been loving these summer interviews. We're going to take a little bit of a break in July. Those are going to be some solo episodes, and then we will finish off the summer with more interviews in August. So I am looking to fill that schedule, and if you think you'd be a good fit, please reach out. All right, let's take a break and head over to the UGlue hotline before we get into this week's episode. Welcome to the UGlue hotline, where we discuss great advice that sticks. Brought to you by Pro Tapes. If you have a question or some great advice to share, click the link in the show notes to call in and leave a voicemail.
Hi, my name is Heather, and I live in Tampa Bay, Florida, and my balloon company is called Poppin' Off Balloons at poppinoffballoons.com. I love the podcast. It has given me so much inspiration and information. The question I have for you is, as far as invoicing customers, how detailed are you putting on the invoice? Are you just saying this job costs $500, here's the invoice? Or are you breaking it down like backdrop $200, balloons $200, add-ons, flower add-ons $50, foil add-ons $50? How detailed are you getting on the invoice? I'm not sure where customers are most happy wanting to see it broken down. And then I have a follow-up second question. How are you pricing those add-ons? The florals, the foils, that type of stuff, the bubble balloons. How are you determining how much to add for those? Are you doing $10? Are you doing $100? I'm still trying to figure that out, how exactly to price my add-ons. Thank you so much, Sarah. I love the podcast. Keep all the good stuff coming. I'm excited every Tuesday and listen first thing. Thanks. Bye.
Hey, Heather, thank you for calling in. I think this is a great question. My advice is to find a middle ground. I am not a fan of full event pricing, just saying it's $1,000 for everything. I definitely like when I can see an itemized invoice. I think customers like that as well. They like to know what they're paying for. But I think you can go too detailed in the other direction. I personally don't add every foil, every starburst, every piece of greenery. I don't itemize all of that out on my invoice. I just think it gets too nitpicky, and I think most people just don't care. And if I end up in a situation where I was going to use 5 foils, but I decided to use 4 foils, I don't want my customer thinking like, well, hey, I paid for those. Where are they? So I like to give myself a little bit of freedom in that area. Another reason why I itemize on my invoices is because some of my items are taxed and some of them are not. I don't think this is consistent in every state, but in Wisconsin, I have to charge sales tax on like a balloon arch, like an item, but I don't charge sales tax on service fees. So like delivery and installation is not taxed. So for that reason, I have to be able to kind of pick out which items are taxed and which are not. So I think a middle ground is really nice. I definitely list out what items people are getting, what my delivery fee is, what my installation fee is. That is all on the invoice. But I am not including super detailed specifics about how many foils, how many pieces of greenery, how many this, how many that. That is too detailed for me, and I think that gives your customers some opportunity to also negotiate down. Like, well, we don't want 10 foil balloons, we want 8. And like that is not a conversation I want to have. So I just price the balloon garland all as an installation, and I put the balloon garland onto the invoice. The balloon arch, if it's going to have foils on there, I am pricing that into the price of the balloon arch, and I'm putting it on the invoice. So I am definitely like in the middle. You also mentioned like add-ons like backdrops and greenery. For things like that, I typically do like a flat fee. So for greenery, I'll usually tack on like $50, and that's usually enough for quite a bit of profit in there, actually. I never have spent $50 on greenery upgrades. And a lot of times florists at weddings and stuff will just include those, have them added on to their invoice, and then they're just waiting for me to add them into the balloons. And backdrops and rentals like that, I don't rent those without balloons, so those are also kind of built into the price. Like if someone is getting a balloon arch, the cost of the arch is factored into the price of the balloon arch. I'm not going to sell like naked framework. I don't do that. I know some other people do, in which case you definitely want to have standalone rental prices. But for me, it kind of always comes with the balloons. So I have like a circle frame, but I'm not going to rent that without the balloons. So I just charge for the circle frame installation with balloons. So I am definitely in the middle. I know you could get more specific, you could get less specific. This has been a sweet spot for me and my customers. I think most people don't really care. They don't need to know super duper specific quantities of what you're using, but they want to see what they've paid for. So most of the time putting balloon arch, balloon bouquet, putting, general terms on your invoice is good enough. And that works for me. Great question. Thanks for calling in. Pro Tapes is a leading manufacturer of specialty tape products like Pro Gaff, Pro Artist Tape, and our favorite balloon tape, U-Glue, which helps you create amazing balloon arrangements and decorations in less time. You can save 5% on U-Glue when you buy directly from Having a Party using the code BRIGHT at checkout. And to help promote our brand new U-Glue hotline, I am giving the first 10 callers any free download of their choice from the Bright Balloon shop. That includes all templates, courses, or resources. So click the link in the show notes to call in and leave your question for the U-Glue hotline. Welcome to this episode, Tisha. I am so excited to chat about your business and kind of your community side hustle. We'll get all into the details about what Balloon Esteem is, but first, introduce yourself and tell us about your balloon business.
I am Tisha, and my business is Little Party Girl Co. And I started it back in 2019 as a blog. I wasn't initially wanting to do planning on just doing balloons.
Okay.
It was going to be like a one-stop shop DIY place for moms trying to do the Insta-worthy party on a dime.
So was your plan to ever do work for hire, or were you just going to showcase like ideas?
That was the dream.
Okay.
Because at the time I was working with Le Rev, which is no longer open since COVID, but it was like a Cirque du Soleil type style show.
Cool.
And I was the makeup artist for the show. That's what I was doing full time. I worked for Cirque du Soleil for 12 years as their makeup and wig technician.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So kind of that I had a baby, and that kind of, working nights and weekends and holidays started to get really daunting. And I loved what I did. I loved the atmosphere. I loved the environment. It was just the craft. It was just getting to be too much to miss my kids' birthday parties and Christmas, dinners and stuff like that. So I was like, I love throwing her birthday parties. I love it. And so I want to help people do this, to make it easier. And so the dream was to eventually get the ball rolling with that and do that full time and be able to leave the shows. So I started as a blog, started having friends hire me. And so then before I knew it, I was super busy doing like the whole party, like the cake. I was doing DIY cakes, decorations, all these things. And I was exhausted. It was fun.
Yeah.
But I was like, how would I make this profitable? Like, this is way too much.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, what's one thing that I really enjoy doing out of all of these things that could be like the most sustainable and the most profitable? And I was like, well, balloons. Like, I'm really enjoying that. I want to learn more about it. And so balloons kind of chose me.
That's cool. So did you ever monetize your blog? Were you making money off the blog, or that was just the starting point?
No, because I had never done anything like that before. So it was one of those, like, I'm just going to jump in head first and just kind of figure it out as I go.
Yeah. Well, and you did. So, you never know where things are going to lead. So it sounds like you did.
Exactly. And then COVID kind of gave me the violent shove into doing balloons full time. And then when the industry reopened and they asked me to come back, Le Rev had closed, but they opened a new show and they asked me to come back. And I said, you know what, guys, like, I appreciate it. I loved working there. It was beautiful, but I'm in a new season now and my kids are number one and my business is number two. And so that's what we're going to do.
That's awesome. So tell us about like the scale of your business. Is it retail? Is it just you? Do you have a crew? Like, what do you do mostly?
So it is me building everything. And then I have an assistant. Her name's Andrea. She's amazing. She is my right-hand woman. She is like my second brain. And she just works with me on the weekends because she has her own full-time gig Monday through Friday. So she comes every weekend with me and installs and is, a yes woman. Whatever I need, she's like, yep, I got you, So that's been a huge help. And then I recently hired my cousin who actually lives in Vermont, and she's my virtual assistant.
Oh,
and
that's great.
She helps me with emails and getting like invoice follow-ups and just, all that mundane stuff that takes so much time. So that's been really helpful.
Yeah. And I think that's a good point to make. I think a lot of people who are home-based think they can't hire people because like you don't have an office, you don't have a place for them to go. You could just hire a virtual assistant. Everything's online. They don't really need to be with you.
Right. And that's kind of what was keeping me from hiring too many people. Like I want more help, but I am still home based. So I was like, well, when I get the warehouse or when I get the space, I'm going to do all this. And I was like, no, you can start now. This is too much. We're too busy. We need help.
Absolutely. There's always an excuse or like, you'll do it when, and it's like, just do it now. Like, just do it now.
Yes. And then about a month ago, I hired another stay-at-home mom who has 3 kids. Her name's Stacy and she's amazing. And she's been helping me inflate. So that's been another huge help.
That's awesome. Yeah. When I hired an inflator, that was where I felt like I could breathe for the first time. Like you get so used to the work. Like we are workhorses. I think balloon people are some of the hardest workers, and you just get used to how hard it is and how long it is. And then when you all of a sudden take inflating off your plate, you're like, wait a minute, I suddenly have time. Like this was taking so much time just to blow up balloons. So that was a huge hire for me as well.
100%. I felt that weight lifted too with the emails and just with my CRM management, like having help with that. And she just follows up like, hey, we still need to send this mock up to this person, and it just takes that extra step of me going through everything and making sure I'm up to date on everything.
Totally. Oh, that's awesome. So what's kind of like your sweet spot? Who are you serving and what type of decor do you do mostly?
So I am doing mostly organic. And my sweet spot, I would say, is like the moms that want the over-the-top party for their kids. And then I do some weddings, and baby showers are huge, of course.
Yeah, and showers are giant for me as well. Baby showers and bridal showers are like, I would say 50% of my inquiries lately are showers.
Yeah. And I've been this last year, bachelorettes have started getting really, really popular because we're in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
So this is like, bachelorette mecca.
Do you deliver to hotels, or is that not like a thing that they do?
So yes, I do. And that's where all of the bachelorette parties happen. And that is a whole nother episode worth of
For real.
conversation. That there's so many logistics in hotel stuff because I have a Ford Transit 250 and that doesn't fit in most of the parking garages at the hotel. So you have to get permits for the loading dock ahead of time. It's a big mess.
Well, I live in a resort town, so there's a lot of hotels, but also we're in Wisconsin. So there's like parking lots and it's like no big deal. But even here, it's kind of not worth the hassle because people are always like, can you decorate the room? It's like, well, I can't get into your room. Like they're not going to let me in. And half the time it's not worth it. So I am curious. Let's put a pin in that. I do think that would be an awesome follow-up episode because I think hotel parties are a big source of income, but they're kind of hard to crack, like you just said.
You definitely have to find your groove and you have to put a lot of policies in place because it can be very stressful.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. Very cool. Well, let's pivot and talk about the main event. This is like it's like a balloon side hustle within your balloon business, and it is Balloon Esteem. So tell us about that.
Yes. So Balloon Esteem is a balloon community for all of us balloonies to kind of get together and have support and be able to just lean on someone too who understands all the struggles and the ins and outs of the industry. Because, I could talk to my best friend about it and she's like, oh yeah, okay, cool. Like, sorry about that.
Oh my gosh, I know.
He doesn't get it.
My husband, like if I talk to him about balloons one more time, I swear it's going to be the end. He tries, but he's just like, I don't care. I don't care that you can't get this one color. Like this doesn't.
Right. Exactly. Yes. I know it doesn't sound like that big of a deal, but other balloon people get it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so at the beginning of the year, well, actually, when I first started Little Party Girl during like full time during COVID, I really focused on relationships. And that was kind of how I built my brand, was doing the styled shoots, all the things that you actually talk a lot about in those episodes about styled shoots and stuff. I did all of that in the beginning.
So building your relationships with other vendors, not balloon people?
Other vendors.
Okay.
And then that kind of like sparked like, oh, this is really cool. Like this is really valuable. And then I started getting busier and then I needed help and I didn't have the means to hire somebody.
Yeah.
So then I started reaching out to other balloon people and saying like, hey, let's get coffee sometime. Let's go do this. Let's do that. And then I started bringing other balloon businesses with me on my jobs. Sure. And that was awesome because I didn't have to train anybody. They came with me. We got to do this huge install. We did one for St. Patrick's Day around the Center Bar at New York Casino. And it was huge. It was my biggest job at the time. It was like a total of 300 feet of garland. And it went all the way around the outside of the bar. And It's Poppin' Events, who is another local balloon company. Her name's Tahani, came and assisted me. And after that day, I was like, this is valuable. This needs to be talked about more. And I'm going to run with this.
Yeah. Hey friends, the next time you need to order supplies for your professional balloon business, head over to Havin' a Party Wholesale. They carry all of the brands that we love and need to run our profitable balloon businesses. And they are family owned and operated, and they know the business inside and out. They've even offered listeners of the podcast a 5% off coupon code when you use the code BRIGHT at checkout. So next time you need to order, head over to havinaparty.com. Okay, can we sidebar for just a second though?
Yeah.
Because I think hiring other balloon people is something people are scared of as well. So I think let's just touch on some etiquette rules. Like I love hiring other balloon people because like you said, they're trained, they're capable, they help you. But I think people are afraid because they're going to like steal their clients or, I don't know. But I think in general, I don't know if I have golden rules, but they're not going to wear their business shirt. They're not going to pass out their business card. Any that I'm forgetting, like the vibe's got to be good. But I think people are afraid of hiring other balloon people, but like how are they going to steal your client, right? Like they're going to have to find them first and awkwardly give them their business card in front of you. Like it would be pretty weird.
And I feel like that kind of would be offsetting or off-putting to the client,
Exactly. Right.
And kind of to go off of that's the main thing. People are like, why are you starting this community? It's like, how is this helping you? And I was like, well, it's not just about me though. It's about all of us, and trying to flip that script and trying to influence the thought that it's going to hurt your business. This is a positive place, and it can only help everybody involved.
Sure.
And if you focus on creating your brand, you focus on creating your unique style, and you put all your energy and focus in that, go for it. Try to copy me. Try to take my client. You're not me. That's my superpower. And that's what I'm trying to like evoke in everybody is like, focus on you and your craft, and there's enough work. It sounds so cliche. Everyone says it. There's enough room at the table. There's enough work to go around, but it's true. There is. Everyone has birthdays. There's, you know, all these other celebrations, and balloons are never going out of style.
Yeah. Yeah. So Balloon Esteem, first of all, is it a physical location? Is it just in Vegas? Tell us about the actual setup of how this is working, how you see it and growing, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Yes. So it started just as a Las Vegas thing. And I had asked 2 of my local balloon friends to be a part of it with me because I wanted it to be a community on both ends. I didn't want me by myself running a community platform. So we don't have a physical space. However, we do meetups. And every time we meet up, we are doing it in a different area of Las Vegas. So it's close to you one of the 4 times wherever you live.
Got it. Right.
So that people, I mean, Las Vegas isn't that big. To drive all the way across the city, the most is like 45 minutes with traffic, you know, but still, we're trying to make it like easy and accessible for everybody. So yeah, so that's kind of the only physical time that we're actually meeting up in person. But really, I started it as something very casual and just trying to put it out there, the benefits of supporting your competition.
Networking with.
And to try to stop thinking of your competition as, you know, being against you. And they're really, we can all learn from each other and help each other when we need it. And the same thing like what you were saying earlier with like, I can't find this color, you know? And then I reach out to, I'm like, I put it on blast. Who has 11-inch chrome silver balloons? Because I need them tomorrow, you know? And then I have 3 people offering balloons, you know? And then we either trade or I just pay them right then and there for the bag. And it just makes it so much easier to have the support.
Yeah.
I find it it's just really great to have that openness and trust. And of course, there's going to be people that aren't like that. Yeah. And of course, there's going to be the times where you're like, man, that burned and that really stinks. But that's why I think it's also important to continue with this culture that we're trying to like grow, to try to change that, you know, to try, not change it, but to influence it.
Sure.
And really try to like get the toxicity out, because that no one has time for that. We're all busy. We don't need.
Right. So if someone's listening and they're not in Vegas, what can they do to either get involved or learn more?
So we have a couple branches that have opened across the country, which has been super cool and exciting. Again, I wasn't expecting this to kind of like grow as fast as it has, which also tells me like, yes, there is a need for this. And the feedback we've gotten has been really amazing too, from people across the country. So I would say, you know, we have one in Texas, in Waco, Texas. We have one in Cleveland. We have North Bay area, California, Alaska, and we have 2 more branches opening up soon, which I'm not going to say yet.
Cool. Yeah. So if someone is interested in starting one of these, you're open to it, right?
So we have just a Google Doc link in bio on Balloon Esteem's Instagram that you can fill out with, you know, why you want to start a Balloon Esteem in your area, how you're practicing the vibes of Balloon Esteem and what you're doing to kind of spread your influence in a positive way. And we're actually taking a pause on opening any new branches right now just to work out the kinks of what we have currently, just because it just literally just blew up overnight.
Yeah.
So it's something I want to be super special and I want it to be done right. Yeah. So people that have...
So I was in a sorority and, you know, I was in the local chapter of this national sorority. And then we would pay dues to our sorority that would then go to like headquarters, and that would go to, I don't know what, supporting us. Is that how it works? Is there any monetary exchange involved, or like do these branches have to pay into, I don't know what it's even called, dues, basically?
No, I haven't done any of that because I didn't want it to be about that. I wanted it to be just about, the community.
Perfect. Okay.
And just like a low stress, happy place.
Yeah.
Because the business is stressful enough as it is. This is strictly just for like mental health, helping each other out, being kind, and learning from each other.
Yeah.
However, I am toying with the idea of some sort of something to help, like to put the money towards meetups or not anything that would be profitable, but something to help like give each branch more of a kind of a structure to kind of help them run the platform so that they don't have to think as much about it.
Right.
Like one-stop shop, easy, quick, a posting schedule, like a calendar, like these are the themes we're going to talk about this month, and then kind of go from there so that it's easier.
Right. Well, and I know like QBN Network, like Qualitex Balloon Network, they have local chapters, and I think there's dues associated with it. But then that money gets pooled to bring in like an instructor or for snacks or, so it's not just like send all your money into the corporate headquarters.
Give me your money. Yeah,
exactly. But I would imagine that at some point, the people who are heading up this group will need some resources, whether that's, digital or, something. So I totally understand it going that direction.
Yeah, for sure. I'm hoping that will be the plan.
And like you said, your branding is kind of on it. So you don't want to find out that, the Wisconsin chapter of Balloon Esteem like meets at the strip club every week.
Right. Exactly.
So yes. I understand you pumping the brakes and kind of just wanting it to be above board. I think that's a good idea.
Yep. But I also want to just like spread the word on the culture of it, and try to get rid of the negative stigma of supporting your competition.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Jeff from Balloon Suite by Asset Lab. We help balloon decor businesses bring in more sales and leads with a high-tech toolkit that includes your website, your domain, your advertising, your search engine optimization. Our plans start at $50 a month, and we'll even buy out your Wix or Squarespace or GoDaddy subscription to help you get onto a platform that's made for and optimized for your business in balloon decor. Check us out at balloonsuite.com.
Okay, so I have some questions. These are hard questions. I don't know that I have the answer, but I guess what do you recommend? I guess for both sides of the situation. There are people who have been in the business a really long time, and then there's people who are brand new. So I think sometimes coming to the table and being like, let's all share. It doesn't quite seem fair for someone who has been, attending conventions, paying for mastermind, going to classes, like honing their craft for 20 years to then just give away everything they've learned to new people, even if they're nice, even if they're friendly.
Sure.
And I think those are really difficult conversations to negotiate. Like even for me, I'll get asked questions where it's like, well, like I want to help you, but I also paid someone else to teach me how to do that. So it feels weird if I just send it to you on Instagram. Like, it does get a little gray in those conversations. Yep. So I guess what are your tips on how to pleasantly approach those conversations?
Yeah. Usually I kind of give like a surface level answer, try this and that. And I don't really go into a whole lot of detail. And then I'll say, I get a lot of mosaic questions.
Okay.
A lot of mosaic questions. And I have invested in the Creative Heart Studios classes. I use her templates, all that stuff. And so if it's like a simple, like, what glue do you use? I'll just tell them. But if it's like, how do you get those small balloons that tiny and how do you get them to fit perfectly? I say, listen, Lily is the end all be all mosaic queen. She created this. She has great classes. Here's the link. Check her out.
Yeah.
And so I try to I give a little information to help and to support and to give them like that instant gratification of information. But then this also goes to the whole community thing, right? You're then spreading the love by then sending the link to the class I took that taught me how to do it.
Yeah.
To say, hey, this is where I learned it. I'm not going to do it justice by trying to tell you this. And also, this is the creator. So give them the money and learn from them.
I think that's great. I love that advice. I think too, my 2 cents, like you said, there is a difference between telling people what color balloon it is or what glue you use, because you can tell someone you use robin's egg blue, and they're not going to be able to do what you can do with it. Exactly. Like it's a tool. You're the craftsman.
Yes.
And then there is some stuff that I think is okay to keep to yourself. Like I have gotten to that point where I'm like, you know what? That's a little gem that I'm just going to keep for me. That's going to be my secret sauce. And I think that's okay. Like I think in other industries, I think restaurateurs, they can be networking and friendly without giving away their recipe to their secret sauce. So I think there
100%.
is a balance. And I think for me, I'm a people pleaser. So I think sometimes just saying no is the hard part. And that's on me. That's not on the person asking. That's on me to just be like, oh, that's not something I'm comfortable sharing, but I learned a lot at this event, or I learned a lot in this community, or, I know so-and-so teaches that concept. So I think kind of that deflecting is what I kind of lean on.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's healthy to set boundaries. And I'm learning that every day, especially in personal, but also in business. Like saying no I love to say no now. I love it. It is the most freeing thing, and it allows me to show up and be the best me when I show up to a job. If I said no to the 3 other ones that I was supposed to do on top of the 4 I'm already doing.
Yeah.
It really makes a difference. So yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with setting that boundary and also then providing them with information. It's not like I'm just going to say no and then leave it at that. It's like, no, but check this out.
Right.
Like I still point them in the direction of where they can get that information.
Yeah. And sometimes you do have people that are just, they can't read the room. They can't see the boundary, and you try to set it and they just keep trying to step over it. And someone told me this and I was like, oh, that seems so mean. But advice I got was that not responding is okay. Like that sounds really harsh, but like if someone is just hounding you on Instagram, you can just not respond. Like I am, again, I want to serve people. I want to give them the information, but there are times where I just have to be like, I'm just going to leave this conversation. Like I can't invest any more in this. The more I give, the more they're taking. So I think it's okay to just be like, I'm just going to leave this conversation politely and that's it,
Yeah. I feel like it's a case by case situation.
Totally. And those are rare. I feel like most people that I have worked with or, in the community are awesome. They're always like, I'm so sorry to bother you, but if you have a second, could you just please tell me? And they ask like some super simple question that I'm super, happy to share. But my relationships, not even my balloon relationships at this point. It's like my actual friends are now balloon people. And that is really helpful. I like that you touched on mental health. I think that is a huge area of our industry that we kind of like neglect. Like it's almost like we glorify this hustle culture, like how busy we are. And then like all of a sudden someone just like quits. And it's like, oh, I wonder why. It's like, oh, because they worked every single day for 7 years and they were done.
Completely burnt out.
So I love having these, like, I have a group of girls that I talk to every day and they're all balloon people. And like you said, they get it and other people don't. Like they don't understand how hard it is. So I think the value of having a community of balloon people is really, really important.
Me too.
Very cool. So there are a couple chapters opening, potentially more, but even if people aren't directly related with a Balloon Esteem chapter, they can still follow. These are active accounts on Instagram, right? That give kind of like encouraging quotes and it's fun to follow along.
Yeah, exactly. And then I also kind of want to start like if someone's looking for a specific color or someone needs help on a job, then Balloon Esteem can kind of be that platform to kind of blast it and be like, hey, who's available on this day? So-and-so needs help. We did that last week. We did our first charity event, which was really cool for
your Balloon Esteem chapter.
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
So we did for Casa Las Vegas, a foster home system here. And we did a graduation for foster kids that never got adopted.
Oh.
And it was so special to be a part of it. And the kids just had the best time and we're so grateful. And we had 5 or 6 other balloon companies in Las Vegas donated garland, and then Festoon Balloons came and helped me install. And that was really cool. We had, I think it was like 70 feet of garland.
That's awesome.
And then we did a shimmer wall and some helium with tassel centerpieces. And so that's also kind of the direction I'm wanting to take it, is to do some charity work.
Very cool. Yeah.
And get the community of balloon artists involved. So it's not, because then we can do even more. The more people we have, the more we can donate.
Yeah. And imagine, sometimes I donate like a garland and I'm like,
right,
this didn't really have any impact.
Right.
But I think if you had like 20 people each donate 2, that's a giant installation that costs you, $20 of materials, and then go out and celebrate with drinks after. That sounds so fun. I love that.
Thanks.
Will I see you at Float 2024? In 2024, Float will celebrate its 10th official convention, so save the dates to join us in the Chicago area for what is sure to be a once-in-a-lifetime celebration. March 10th through the 14th, 2024, with pre-convention activities March 8th and 9th in Lombard, Illinois. And there's so much more to the Floativerse than just a convention every 2 years. Between weekly shows, monthly classes, an annual global art project, and more, Float is more than an event. It's a culture, a community, and a phenomenon. And don't forget, I'm sponsoring one lucky winner to attend Float for free. So make sure you are signed up for the Bright Balloon newsletter using the link in the show notes wherever you are listening for a chance to win. But don't use this as an excuse to delay purchasing your ticket, because even if you win, we will reimburse you. Trust me, you don't want to miss this convention specifically for balloon decorators.
Yeah,
Very cool.
it's been cool. So I have some big projects on the horizon that I'm going to, that they're not on the calendar, but that I want to try to attack and pitch.
Yeah.
So it'll be cool.
That's really cool. So what do you see as your next step for your actual balloon business?
Getting a space.
Yeah, like a warehouse.
I would love a warehouse. I have the van, which that was life-changing, and that took me forever to rip the Band-Aid off. And finally, I got to U-Haul one day and their system was down and they couldn't dispatch a truck or a van. And I had 250 helium balloons to transport. And
what'd you do?
I called like 6 friends and we like caravanned to Top Golf, which is where the event was.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, we had an hour. It was awful.
Did you cry?
Yes.
That's going to be my new question on this podcast. Did it make you cry? I cry a lot.
Yes. I didn't cry until afterwards.
Yeah.
I had like a severe meltdown where I was like, this is not for me. I'm done. This is not worth it. I can't have other companies make my business look bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? And so that's when I was like, the light bulb went off and I was like, we're getting a van. I don't care. Forget saving this money. I'm taking the money and I'm buying a van.
I know, totally. It's a convenience purchase. That's the thing. You can justify it all day long that it's cheaper to just rent U-Hauls but you know what? I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait in line. I don't want to do it anymore.
And it's your time. And no, I'm done. I was like, I am all about efficiency now. And my time is so precious to me because that's why I started this business in the first place.
Yeah.
To have more time, quality time with my kids and my husband.
Did the magical thing happen where as soon as you got the van, you started booking bigger jobs?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Why? What is that?
I don't know. It's magic. I don't know.
The universe is like, oh, she's ready. Here you go.
And then you're like, should I have gotten a truck? What's happening?
Literally, I said that to my husband yesterday. I was like, I think I need to get another van. I don't know where I'm going to park it, but we got to figure it out because I can't be doing 2 trips and I don't want to rent a U-Haul. So
yeah. Oh, that's so funny.
Oh my gosh.
Cool. It sounds like your business is going in such a good, fun direction. And remind me of the timeline again. You said it really launched during COVID.
I launched before COVID. I launched in 2019 with the blog.
Gotcha.
And then started doing balloons and stuff. And then COVID hit shortly after that. And then that's when I really took the bull by the horns and ran with the balloon situation and did the whole door front drop off. And
Well, it sounds like it's going so successful. I mean, you're still relatively new, not really, but kind of. It still feels like we're just on the heels of COVID, but these people who started during COVID, it's been several years now. So
yeah, it's crazy. Time's just flying.
I know. Well, that's awesome. And then next step for Balloon Esteem, people should follow you on Instagram, right? The main Balloon Esteem account.
For sure. Yes. The main, and then check out the branches too and see, if there's anyone close to you.
And where do they do that? Is there a website or are they just listed somewhere on Instagram?
They're listed on Instagram on the main site. We have in the highlights, I have the different branches listed there.
Very cool. Are any of them standouts? Are any of them doing super cool things right away that you can think of?
Not yet. No. And that's what I told them too. I was like, don't feel the pressure of trying to hit the ground running because I know we're all busy.
Cool.
So let's find our groove together, and I want feedback from everyone on how to make this work better and how to make it run smoothly. So, and that's kind of the beautiful thing with it as well, is we're getting the different perspectives and different expertise levels from across the board too, which I think is important.
That's smart. You don't want to launch and be like, I expect you to have this many members and this many events. And like, no one needs more stress. Yeah.
Right. And that again goes with the whole mental health thing. Like this is to help offset the craziness of business ownership.
Yeah, absolutely. And the charity component, I didn't know about that. I think that's really, really awesome. Can we see pictures of that on your account?
Yes. Actually, I don't have it on the feed. I posted it in my stories, but I will definitely post it.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's super. Congratulations. I think that's just so honorable. That's really, really cool.
Thanks. It's been fun.
Yeah. Well, great. Well, thank you for coming on. This is such a light, fun episode. I really appreciate it. And I think, community helps. Like, it's just, that's what it comes down to. Like, having a community helps in lots of different ways. And I think people who are afraid to network with their quote unquote competition, it's not that scary once you get to meet these other balloon people.
Yeah. And you'll know which people maybe we can stay at an arm's distance, you know?
Right. It's like everything. It's like coworkers. You're not best friends with all of your people at work. You kind of click with some and not with 100%.
others. 100%. But there's nothing wrong with, extending the, hey, good job. That looks really great. Even a simple engagement on Instagram goes a long way.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time. This has been so nice.
Yes. Have a good one.
Thanks for listening. As usual, I tried to keep it bright and light. Our presenting sponsor is 17 Hats, the CRM I use to cut the chaos and manage my entire balloon business. From the lead capture form on my website to workflows and email templates, invoicing and grab-and-go garland automated bookings, it's all powered by 17 Hats, the best customer relationship management system for balloon businesses. There's even a 50% off coupon code waiting for you in the show notes wherever you're listening. I'll see you next week in another episode.